Government reinforces the rationale for its proposed deferral of the 4% wage increase to public officers for 2021. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, I am Sherian Noel. The government of Grenada is reinforcing the rationale for its proposed deferral of the 4% wage salary increase due to public officers for 2021. The increase will add $13.2 million to the public sector wage bill at a time when the government is facing a significant drop in revenue due to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. In response to recent public pronouncements by one of the trade unions attempting to justify the demand, government outlines the 5 main reasons why the deferral is necessary. It is important to note that the government did not initiate the buyback of Grenada. This was mandated by a court ruling following legal proceedings initiated by WRB based on the provisions of the 1994 share purchase agreement, which allowed the company to claim majeure due to changes to the operational environment of the energy sector. Further, the money used for the Grenada repurchase was taken from allocations for capital projects. This money was provided largely through grants and soft loan funding, and any attempt to use this for recurrent expenditure will make the country ineligible for future support of this nature. The fact that government has been forced into this unplanned expenditure at a time when revenue earnings are lower than expected further undermines its inability to manage a larger wage bill at this time. The public should also know that moves were already being made to garnish government's assets both at home and abroad, which had the potential to affect government's ability to pay salaries or conduct any business whatsoever. The government of Grenada recognizes its obligation to honor the collective labor agreement that provides for the wage salary increase, but the economic fallout from COVID-19 is putting a strain on the country's coffers at this time and therefore provides justification for the deferral. Moving along, residents of the new Chinese low-income housing units at the 5 sites across the island will be required to pay 45% of the cost price, which will include the cost of security and maintenance of the facility. That announcement by Minister for Housing, Honorable Delma Thomas. During Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister Thomas said a decision was taken to increase the cost to include these measures due to the gaps that were experienced in the first phase of the housing project.
In this phase, we looked at what happened in the first phase. So this phase we have incorporated in terms of the price that you'd pay while it's a gift. We have 45% of the cost price, and that will include the insurance and security fees. So one of the things that the fee tier that we saw wasn't in the first site, and we had a number of conflicts, was security. And so the people now will be paying in terms of the fee to have security and maintenance costs. When you're talking about apartment building, it means that you need somebody who will be able to maintain the outside of the buildings and the yard space. And so all these will be involved in that new second phase housing.
A management committee will be established to ensure that residents are adhering to the procedures outlined by the ministry.
At present, a team from the ministry is now in Carriacou with the Chinese looking at finalization of work there. They are finalizing water connection and electrical connection. In the next couple of weeks, those 3 sites will be available. St. Mark, St. Patrick, and Carriacou will be completed. In April, we'll see the completion of St. David, and Boucheju in St. George will be completed by July. There will be a ceremony. The biggest one we'll have it at the Prime Minister's constituency in Boucheju.
3 of the 5 units, Carriacou, St. Patrick, and St. Mark, will be handed over at the end of February. The St. David unit is scheduled to be completed in April. Minister Thomas says a ceremony will be held to signal completion of the units.
Based on what we saw happen with the first one, and there's so many challenges when different families are living together, and so based on what we saw in the past, we will be working to ensure that we deal with those issues.
MPOWER participants across the Tri-Island are currently receiving direct skills training to adequately prepare them for the job market in a number of areas. In this report, Eugenia Peters, Communications Officer in the Division of Youth, tells us the young men are excited to be a part of a program that guarantees them a bright future.
The direct skills training component of the Empower program provides opportunities for participants to gain the necessary skills that will enable them in becoming entrepreneurs or gain meaningful employment. Training has been delivered in a number of areas including plumbing, welding, auto mechanic repairs, and general construction. The plumbing training facilitated by Grenada exposes the participants to the basic fundamentals of plumbing. Travis Charles, one of the participants, says he is looking forward to certification and upgrade upon completion.
Well, after this training, I look to reach far and reach to a higher grade in life.
With confidence, Anderson Isaac, another participant, says the lessons learned from the course will enable him to become self-employed.
I see myself being a boss at what I learned, and executing the work that was taught to me.
Grateful for the opportunity to receive training in the area of welding, Kyle Williams says his creative skill will enable him to make a career out of welding.
I like to do things with my hands and then see them actually coming out. So this is a perfect place for me, Welding is something I always look to pursue in, maybe a career.
Having prior basic skills in general construction, Maridel Cummings, attached to the St. Andrew Southeast Community Brigade, spoke of his decision to receive the training.
To actually get achievement in the skills training as to how to do with the construction industry.
With less than 6 months left in the program, participants are also engaged in other areas, including heavy machinery equipment, commercial food preparation, general construction, and auto mechanic repairs. From the Division of Youth Development, I am Communications Officer Eugenia Peters.
Thank you, Eugenia. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
The National Celebrations Committee invites all Grenadians home and abroad to tune in to the broadcast of the virtual staging of our 47th anniversary of Independence Cultural Extravaganza on Saturday, February 6th and Military Parade on Sunday, February 7th. Live from the National Cricket Stadium on GIS Channel 22, National Celebrations Committee and GIS Facebook pages and YouTube channels. The Cultural Extravaganza begins at 6 p.m. and will showcase the best of Grenada from all parishes under the theme Brighter Out of Darkness. Then on Sunday we return to the National Stadium at 9:30 a.m. for a special Made in Grenada feature and military parade. Happy 47th Grenada, rebuilding together a safer, more resilient nation in these challenging times.
Welcome back. The Grenada Spotlight Initiative has made significant strides towards fulfilling its mandate to eliminate violence against women and girls. Since the launch of the program in 2020, the Ministry of Social Development has hit the ground running to implement projects and programs to strengthen service delivery. The EU and UN-funded Spotlight Initiative will contribute to the achievement of gender equality, peace, social inclusion, and protection of human rights, which are in accordance with the National Sustainable Development Goals. Fiona Sandy, Acting Senior Program Officer in the Division of Gender and Family Affairs, says with the help of the Spotlight Initiative, the ministry has been able to recruit additional staff, case managers, and coordinator.
To date, we have recruited and trained 3 new GBV case managers and a policy development coordinator. These persons are now on the staff of the Division of Gender and Family Affairs on a short-term basis to help to strengthen the essential service delivery pillar and to strengthen the various institutions, coordinate policy development and policy processes throughout the implementation of the Spotlight Initiative.
Ms. Sandy says through the initiative, the Cedars Home for Women and Children has been retrofitted. She highlighted other implementation progress under the country's program.
A draft report has been done considering the work, or rather considering where Grenada is now at in terms of eliminating violence against women and girls in terms of law and policy. What reforms need to be made, what new laws and policy need to be introduced. There's been completion of a situational analysis and resulting draft standard operating procedures of services offered by the sectors that respond to gender-based violence. The team is now examining the next steps. And of course, this would look at the sectors of police, health, social services, etc. CEDARS has been retrofitted. That CEDARS Home for Abused Women and Their Children has been retrofitted to include a quarantine isolation area, making it COVID-19 ready.
The initiative will be implemented in 2 phases. The first will end in December 2021, and the second phase will conclude in December 2022. And finally, in the news, students and staff of the Calais Government School and the Grandans Roman Catholic School on Wednesday featured aspects of Grenada's history in commemoration of the country's 47th celebration of independence. Due to the effects of COVID-19, many of the events were being held virtually or reduced in keeping with the Ministry of Health's approved COVID-19 guidelines. Member of the Independence Planning Committee, Kendall Charles, stressed the importance of getting the children involved in highlighting Grenada's history.
We know it's challenging times, and we have to roster our children to get them out here, but we cannot forget the season. It's independence, so we must keep in contact with our history and with our country's origin and the things that we ought to celebrate. So with that, we planned a few activities and have our children engage in them. And this activity here, which is the grandest, it's coming close to the culmination, all right, of a list of activities.
Frankson Marshall, teacher at Grandans RC School, believes the collaboration will give the students an experience in history they will always remember.
Many traditional activities are not done in school as before. And I think this is of greater pertinence this year because of the fact that school attendance has been so limited. And school is not only about teaching and learning, but about experiences. And having the students having this opportunity to have this independence experience in the environment and with the vibrant colors, it goes along with adding value to their knowledge and experience of being at school. So this, I think, is a remarkable event by the school.
And with that story, we come to the end of the National Report for Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Now for a recap of the top story. Government reinforces the rationale for its proposed deferral of the 4% wage increase to public officers for 2021. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.